حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين شفيع المذنبين رحمة للعالمين مولانا وسيدنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين المرجومين الهداة المهديين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرض أرواحنا له الفداء ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في قرآنه المجيد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن يهاجر في سبيل الله يجد في الأرض مراغما كثيرا وسعة ومن يخرج من بيته مهاجرا إلى الله ورسوله ثم يدركه الموت فقد وقع أجره على الله وكان الله غفورا رحيما. محمد وآل محمد صلوات. Respected elders, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Once again we thank Allah for the tawfiq to be here on this ninth night of Muharram to commemorate the shahadat of our beloved master, our Mawla Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. We ask him to accept our azadari, our tears, our matam, our noha, our majalis. We were in the discussion of moving towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the path of spiritual jihad and how to avoid performing spiritual suicide. And basically the concept is that if we allow ourselves to be engulfed in this world and materialistic things, then we will never be able to appreciate the spiritual side of life. Our life will very quickly pass by, and we will look back on our lives when we are older, and we will say to ourselves, we had a missed opportunity. We could have done much more. We could have done much more in the way of God, to be closer to God, but we missed that time. So we will leave this world, God forbid, in a situation that we are worse than when we entered the world. That is a negative state of affairs. I have digressed in my life. I have basically committed spiritual suicide. Rather, the verse that we have been quoting for these 9 nights so far points us to spiritual jihad, where Allah says you must leave your comfort zones and go into migration towards God and His Prophet, and therefore you will be given a credit with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَقَدْ وَقَعَ أَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. Someone who achieves this, his reward is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We then discussed many different ways of doing this, and we mentioned the 3 principles from the hadith of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam. The result of implementing the 3 principles as described by the 6th Imam is that a person will become more akhirat focused and less dunya focused. His focus will shift from materialistic things into spiritual things. He will be more concerned about his state of affairs in the next life than this life. Doesn't mean that he ignores this life, but he becomes very, very clever and wise. He uses this world to facilitate his life hereafter. And in this way, he becomes akhirat focused. Now, the topic of this evening is again a very vital topic. It is called the art of achieving internal peace. You will have noticed that in my lecture so far, I keep coming back to this concept of internal peace. When insan inside himself feels peaceful, when he is away from the daily stresses and anxieties of life. When we avoid things that are so common these days in our communities, such as depression, anxiety, tension, blood pressure, all of these things that are rife in our societies, how can we avoid them? So we have touched upon this topic a few times already, but now we want to look at it in great depth and look at some of the common everyday pitfalls that we can all go through, and we can suffer internal conflict and tension. And we will inshallah discuss how we can avoid this situation. And we begin our discussion with one salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Every living thing in this world, in this universe, anything that can be called alive, whether it is human being, or it is an animal, or even if it is a vegetation, a plant life, everything has an instinctive, inbuilt mechanism to survive. Nothing in this universe wishes to die. We have an exception to this rule, which are those people who wish to commit suicide. Now we cannot compare those with other people, because what we would say is they have something ill with them. They are sick in some way, either mentally or emotionally or in some way. Let us put those people aside for the moment. Every other thing, 99.99% of every other thing wishes to stay alive. And every living thing will do all in its power to stay alive. Whether it is a baby, whether it is an animal, whether it is a plant, they will all do their utmost to stay alive. In short, nothing wishes to die. When we emerge from our lower levels of nafs and soul, so we began our journey, if you remember, brothers and sisters, with the nafs ammara. And we have been moving up in our understanding of soul. We discussed lawama, mutafakkira, mulhama. As we are moving towards a higher state of being, as we are getting closer to Allah, the nafs does not like this. It is like any living being. The nafs which I was in, which was called ammara, which had a hold of me, and it pushed me towards evil, and it pushed me towards desires and passions and shahwat. I have left that behind. I'm progressing out of that into a higher state of being. My nafs ammara feels like it is dying. The mind that I had before is now changing, but it's not comfortable anymore. The nafs is not comfortable anymore. The nafs feels like I am now dying. What did we say? Every living thing wishes to stay alive. When something thinks that it is dying, it will rebel. It will push. It will hit. It will scream. It will do anything in its power to stay alive. The nafs, which feels like it is dying, is now going to react like this. It is going to push us, it is going to hit us, it is going to scream against us, because it thinks it is dying. The nafs which thinks it is dying, now will try to grab us and pull us back into ammara. So it begins to tempt us. We have temptations all around us. Temptations of the flesh, temptations of food, temptations of anger, temptations of greed and jealousy. Ammara nafs is now going to bombard us with these things. Every time we look around, we will see a temptation. Those things that we never even used to notice before now will appear to us very attractive. Because the nafs is bombarding us with messages that it wants to stay alive. Now, let us look at what the Quran says. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu istajibu lillahi wa lirrasul idha da'akum lima yuhyikum. What a beautiful ayat of the Quran. O you who believe, answer the call of Allah and His Prophet when they invite you to that which will give you life. Oh Allah, here I am. I am alive already. I am breathing, I am walking, I am talking, I am fulfilling all of my daily obligations. I talk to people, I interact, I go to the office, I have a bank account. Are you saying that I'm not alive? Quran is trying to tell us that until you answer that specific call of God, it is as if you may as well be dead. This is not life. The daily cyclical robotic lives that we can lead is not life. Allah says, answer the call of God and His Prophet, that will give you life. What you have at the moment may not be life. You may as well be dead. You could be just a corpse. You could be a dead person in reality. So, we look at other verses now to shed some more light on this. With one salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتًا. When someone dies in the way of Allah, he is shaheed. We think of him as dead. Allah says, do not think of them as dead. بَلْ أَحْيَاءٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ يُرْزَقُونَ. They are alive with their Lord, receiving sustenance from Him. So my vision, my thought, my thinking that this person is dead is not true. In the same way, when I look at someone and I think he's alive, that also may not be true. Rasulullah says, if you wish to see a dead man walking, look at Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. Why is Ali a dead man walking? Prophet explains. He says Ali is that personality that he has killed his internal carnal self. He has absolutely obliterated his sense of passion and desire. He has relegated his own selfishness. There was no selfishness. There was never any selfishness. He has completely put himself aside. He has replaced everything of his own with that of Allah. It's as if Ali is not Ali. It is as if Ali is simply saying, I'm a representative of God. Everything I do is in the way of Allah. Everything I say is in the way of Allah. I have completely pushed aside my own self, replacing that with the wisdom and the irada and the will of Allah. Now, let's look at the concept again. Life. Allah says sometimes you need to die to be alive. Like the shuhada. A shaheed is not dead, he is alive. We think of them as dead. They are dead in one sense, but they are alive in the truest sense. Sometimes living people are dead. They are walking around, they may as well be dead. Now I'll ask you a question. What is the opposite of life? You will say the opposite of life is death. Then I will say, what is the opposite of birth? The opposite of birth is death. Life doesn't have an opposite. Life actually is existence, wujood. Life, the opposite of life is non-existence, which is nothing. Life is sheer being. So my concept of life and death now needs to be challenged. I cannot think of death in the same way anymore. Death actually does not happen to a human being. What happens is, I have a worldly life. My worldly life finishes. Then I have a barzakh life. My barzakh life finishes. Then I have an akhirat life, either in Jahannam or Jannat. One or the other. My life has actually never finished. It's simply another way of living. It's simply another place in which I live. But my life has not ended. So Allah says, Istajibu lillahi wa lirrasul. Answer Allah and the Prophet when they call you to that which gives you life. Islam is the call of Allah and the Prophet. Islam gives me life. Where? Does a Muslim live longer than a non-Muslim? No, not necessarily. It gives me life in the life hereafter. So a person who understands these concepts now will understand that my life here is not my life. This is only a very short, very tiny amount of my life. I have a much longer existence, which is my true life after this world. For a little time it is in the grave. Then for the rest of eternity it is in Akhirat. That is my life. This is not my entire life. This is just the introduction to my real life, which is to come later on. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Therefore, if we want to experience sheer life and existence as it should be, then Allah tells us that do spiritual jihad. If you perform spiritual jihad, if you cleanse your soul, if you busy yourself in getting closer to God, then you have prepared your true life afterwards. Then you will experience true life, sheer existence. So, what will happen is, as we are moving towards a higher level of being, the nafs is not going to leave us alone. It is going to start its tricks. It's going to push us back into spiritual suicide. What happens when the nafs hits back? At the moment we have been talking only about us attacking our nafs. Now the nafs hits back and starts its attack towards us. Let me tell you what happens. When the nafs begins to attack us, internal conflicts, internal pain arises. We start to feel an internal sense of war, conflict, battle. Why does that happen? Let me tell you with one salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. This begins actually in our childhood. The nafs remembers certain traits and certain conditions of the human being. When we were born into this world and we were held by our parents, what did we used to do when we felt hungry, or we felt dirty, or we felt hot, or we felt annoyed, or we felt agitated, or we needed comfort? What did we do? We cried. Every single one of us, no matter what religion, has this tendency. In baby times, in babyhood, in childhood, when a baby wants attention, when a baby has an issue that it wants to tell its parents about, when it is uncomfortable, when it is dirty, when it is hungry, it will cry. Exactly the same thing happens in adults. But they don't cry on the outside, they cry on the inside. Now that I'm an adult, if I go around crying like a baby, I will become badnaam in society. People will say I'm crazy. People will treat me like a child. So I cannot cry outwardly. I cannot behave like a baby. I put it inside and I behave like a child in myself. So I create conflict. You will have noticed, brothers and sisters, if you put your hand on your heart and be honest with yourself, when you have felt low, when you have felt bad about something, you will have noticed a tendency in human beings. When we feel bad, we look for a fight. We pick an issue and we fight. Either it's with our colleagues, or our friends, or our children, or our partners. We will look for a fight. Because we're feeling bad, we're feeling tense, we're feeling angry inside, we look for the smallest opportunity to blast someone else. This is how insan creates conflict. He creates anger, rage. He begins to pity himself. Anyone experience this? Self-pity, when things are not going right for you, when too many challenges are coming in your life, we begin to feel very, very sorry for ourselves. The whole world is against me. The whole world doesn't understand me. The whole world can't understand me. I'm in the right. Everyone else is in the wrong. And upon myself I put pity. And I experience self-pity. I look for arguments. So within our homes, we have rows. We slam doors. We throw things. We swear. We shout. We don't have peace in the home. We don't have tranquility in the heart. Because we are in tension. Our soul is not at ease. Therefore the soul creates a conflict within. That conflict within fuels our anger. And we look for outlets. And the outlets are usually the people who are closest to us. They feel the brunt of our anger. So the nafs does this because it wants to feel alive and important. The nafs wants to feel that it still has that element of control upon a person. It still wants to feel in control. It wants to feel like this person is still in my grasp. Then what happens is a number of illusions come into our mind. I told you in one of the earlier lectures, there is a very strong link between soul, mind and body. Now when this happens, when the nafs begins to play its tricks, a number of false illusions come into the mind and our thinking is distorted. Let us look at these. There are 5 of them. Let us look at them, each one of them individually with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The first illusion which the mind and soul create in an individual is that the individual thinks my happiness can only come from external sources. First illusion of the mind and the soul is my happiness can only come from external sources. That is the biggest illusion that our soul plays on us. What we do is we think my children will give me happiness. When the child is disloyal, we feel hurt. My money will give me happiness. Here today, gone tomorrow. Spend as much as you wish. Sometimes that hole at the bottom of the heart cannot be filled. We think pleasures of the soul, pleasures of the flesh, food, sleeping, relationships, these will give me happiness. After a while, no. Again, it lasts for a little while, then it goes away. Why can I not be happy? I have everything around me. It is because I am in an illusion. I have made myself believe that my happiness comes from without. It doesn't. Happiness comes from within. When the heart is at peace, the mind and soul and body will all be at peace. Allah has a name for Jannat. One of the names of Jannat is Darus Salam. What does that mean? House of peace. If a heart is not at peace, can it live in the house of peace? My heart is in turmoil. I'm in conflict. I'm always angry. I'm always suspicious. I'm always on edge. How can I enter Darus Salam, the house of peace, if here I don't have peace? So the first illusion is that your happiness will come from external sources. Second illusion, your happiness is in the future. It is not in the present. Let me give you an example of the way we live today. And you tell me if I'm right or wrong. I wake up in the morning. First thing I do, before I can even open my eyes, I grab my smartphone, I look at my messages. What WhatsApp has come, which emails have come, who has texted me, what Facebook messages do I have, what's happening on Twitter. The very first thing. So immediately upon waking up, what have I put into my life? External things that I think are going to make me happy. Then I look at the watch or the clock and I say to myself, I have about 5 minutes to pray namaz. Quickly get out of bed, pray namaz. While I'm praying namaz, I'm thinking about what I need to do next. I need to have my breakfast, I need to get ready, I need to get dressed. While I'm having my breakfast, I'm looking at my watch. What am I thinking about? I have to reach work at 9 on the dot. I have a meeting. As I'm driving to work, in my car, or whatever vehicle I use, I've got one eye on the watch. It's getting late. There's too much traffic today. I need to go here and here. I need to skip this red light. I need to somehow take over this guy in front of me. Get to work, look at my watch. I have a meeting, then I have another meeting, then I have an appointment, then I have to send an email, then I have to write this, I have a report to submit. While I'm doing all this, my other eye is on the watch. My lunch is coming up. I need to speak with my boss. I need to phone this guy. I need to text this person. I need to reply to that person. While I'm finishing my work for the day, I'm already thinking about my evening plans. I need to do this. The wife wants this. The children want this. I need to pick this up. I need to get home by a certain time. Someone is coming round. I get home and with the children, again I have another eye on my watch. They need to be in bed by this time. Then I can do this job. Then I need to sleep by this time because tomorrow I have an early start. I can't be late. Where am I living? I am living in the future. Every step of my life that I am doing, whether I'm eating or I'm praying or I'm traveling or I'm working, I am not enjoying my present. I am always looking at the future. I am living in the future. How can I expect to be happy in life when the thing that hasn't even happened yet is where I have invested my time? I'm not able to enjoy my food because I'm in a rush. I can't enjoy my drive to work, I'm in a rush. I can't enjoy my children's time with me, I'm in a rush. I've got too many things to do. I need to go on to the next thing. A part of living in this capitalist society, whether it's East or West, is that we always are living in the future. We don't enjoy the now. We don't enjoy what we're doing currently. How much sweeter would that food taste if I could concentrate on my meal? How about I actually enjoy my commute to work? I have to do it anyway. Might as well be happy about it instead of miserable. When I'm with my children, how nice it would be for them to have a memory of their father or mother, actually spending time with them without looking at the smartphone every 5 minutes. This is a symptom of our society. So another illusion which the nafs gives us is that my happiness is not now, it is in the future. But ask yourselves a question. What, if anything, is wrong with the present? Hardly any time in your life will you find something wrong with the present. The present is where you are at. Whether you like it or not, it is where you are at. Why not devote your time and energy and concentration now instead of always looking to the future? That doesn't mean, once again, let me repeat, doesn't mean we don't plan, we don't organize, and we don't strategize for the future. What it means is that at least what we're doing at this moment should be meaningful for us. Otherwise we are always chasing something in the future. With a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. One of the results of being rushed, always rushing, always trying to meet a deadline, always trying to complete things on time, one of the side effects of being rushed is that naturally in your body will produce an inflammatory response. You will notice that when you're rushing and when you have tension and stress about something, your body naturally begins to sweat. Your heart beats faster. You forget certain things. You may even forget to eat for hours and hours. Your sleep becomes secondary. Your other bodily functions become secondary. This is all bad for the body. And in turn it will be bad for the soul as well. A sick body will not be good for a soul. A healthy body will require a healthy soul, and vice versa. The third illusion that the soul gives us is regret of the past. As we are future focused, we are also in a state of regretting past decisions. Our guilt, especially in worldly matters of things that we have done in the past, can become so great, it can become a barrier between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shaitan uses two things to control the human being. One is fear of the future. So he will say, don't do this, what if this happens? Don't do that, what if that happens? And the second is greed of past failures. So he will always make you regret the things of the past, so that your mind is so occupied with past failures, you cannot concentrate on future opportunities. One of the characteristics of the super successful people in the materialistic society is that they don't dwell on past failure. They always look for future opportunities. So, what have we said so far? In order to find life, in order to be happy, in order to enjoy our existence in this world, we must understand that sometimes we have to die in order to live. This dying is a metaphorical dying. What it means is that your carnal soul, your basic soul, needs to be relegated, subjugated, thrown aside. You must do away with me, I, ana, myself. This ana, this me, needs to be pushed aside. Once you are able to do that and you replace your own whims and desires with that of God, then you will find a new sense of life, a new sense of purpose, a new sense of peace in your existence. The fourth illusion is when the soul preoccupies us with what-if scenarios. What if this happens? What if that happens? If I do this, what if? Always shaitan controls us with fear of the future. Again, what if? Allah is there to handle what if. You need to be strong enough and confident enough to do your duty. Let me tell you another principle of life with one salawat. ala Muhammad wa ala The way to do away with what if is to realize that Allah rewards on effort, not on result. Allah rewards on effort, not on result. If you stand before Allah and if you say to Allah, I did my best. Can we have another salawat, please? Allah Muhammad. You stand before God and you say to Him, I did my best. I did not reach nafs mulhama. I did not reach nafs mutafakkira. That's good enough. He rewards on effort, not on results. Nabi Yusuf stayed with 2 inmates in the prison for years and years and years. This is a prophet of Allah spending time with 2 people day in, day out, doing tabligh to them, convincing them of the truth, convincing them that multiple gods are false and one true God is the truth. They didn't agree. They didn't believe. At the end of the day, the result is in God's hands. We must do our efforts. So what if scenarios go out? We should not be concerned with what if scenarios. The 5th illusion, which is the key one from all of these, is do not confuse your life with your life situation. Okay? Do not confuse your life with your life situation. Your life is that Allah has made you. You are a follower of the Ahlul Bayt. You are on this earth for a reason. You have a long journey ahead of you. You are from Allah. You are going back to Allah. That is your life. Your life situation is illness, is job, is debt, is wealth, is sickness, is health, is relationships, is friendships, is battles, these are your life situations. Don't say to yourself, if you have difficulty, that my life is bad. No, your life is your life. This is your life situation. Currently you're in this position. Soon you'll be out of this position. You'll be in another situation. Sometimes you'll have good times. Other times you'll have bad times. Live with it. That is the circle of life. Mawla Ali alayhi salatu wa salam tells us, Ad-dunya yawman. Dunya is 2 days. Yawmun laka wa yawmun alayka. One day will be in your favor, one day will not be in your favor. Some days things will be good, some days things will not be so good. That is your life situation. But your life must continue no matter what. If you are in debt, that's your life situation, but it doesn't mean that you stop being a servant of God. You are in a trouble in your job, that's your situation. Doesn't mean you turn your back on your principles and beliefs. Whatever happens in life, your life situation may happen, but your life always continues. So the 7th weapon on our journey towards Allah is to enjoy the now. Do not live in the future, live in the present. You will notice those of you who have these kinds of jobs, or if you know of people who have these kinds of jobs, you will notice those people who are in high stress jobs, who are constantly in stress and tension and on the edge of their jobs. Have you noticed how they blow off steam? How they relax? What do they do for fun? You will notice that those in high pressure jobs typically have high adrenaline pursuits. They will take up dangerous things: skiing, snowboarding, mountain climbing, parachuting, extreme sports where you cannot afford to concentrate on anything else except for the thing in front of you. Have you noticed how when people are stressed, they take up strange hobbies sometimes? They begin to build models, intricate, small, detailed models. They begin these strange pursuits. Why? Their brains are so scrambled in their high-pressure jobs. They require something simple to concentrate intensely on. Naturally, the soul wishes to concentrate on the now, on the current, on the present. It doesn't wish to live in the future and with past regrets. So when we say we want to achieve a tranquility of soul and peace in the heart, this is what we mean. We mean that we answer the call of Allah, that He gives us life. Life is existence. It is the circle that I am from Him and I am going back to Him. I should not confuse my life with my life situation, and I should not live in the future. I should live in the present and enjoy my every activity which I do, and make it a richer activity with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. We come on to the very sad shahadat now of the beloved of Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain suffered so many losses on the day of Ashura. However, these were all physical losses. His spiritual status was rising to Allah with every shaheed. But Hussain nevertheless still experienced that physical loss, that emotional loss. And what losses did he experience? On one hand, the loss of Abbas, the loss of Janab Qasim, the loss of Hasan Ali Asghar. After Karbala, when Imam Zainul Abidin was in Sham, someone comes to the fourth Imam and says, "O Mawla, we hear of all of these tragedies on your father. Tell us which one was the most painful of the tragedies on the heart of your father." He says they were all very difficult, but most of all, the most painful of them all was when my father lost my brother Ali Akbar. That was the most painful shahadat of them all. Janab Ali Akbar resembled the character of the Holy Prophet, the face of the Holy Prophet, the voice of the Holy Prophet, the walking style of the Holy Prophet. Whenever anyone came to Medina after the Prophet's death and they said, "Oh, how we wish we could have seen Rasulullah," someone who would hear this would say, "Allow me to take you to the gully of Bani Hashim and introduce you to Ali Akbar. He is the spitting image of Rasulullah. He has the voice of the Prophet. He has the face of the Prophet. His every action is like the actions of the Prophet." Imam cries for every shaheed. He cries for every single martyr. But they say that when Ali Akbar is shaheed, the Imam cried so loudly that even the enemies who heard the cry of Hussain begin to cry. What a loss for Hussain Ali Akbar was. Janabi Ali Akbar is intensely attached to his family, but especially so to Janab Zainab. She raises Ali Akbar like a son. He treats her like a mother. On Ashura, when all the ashab have been shaheed, when they have all been martyred, Hussain ibn Ali stands alone, and up to Hussain ibn Ali comes Ali Akbar. He says, "Baba, allow me to fight. Baba, allow me to go forth into Karbala." Historians narrate, Hussain does not say yes. Hussein simply lowers his head, and Ali Akbar understands that my father has given me permission. But then Hussein says to Ali Akbar, I have given you permission, but there is still one more thing you need to do. Go to the tent of the ladies and bid farewell to your auntie Zainab. She will not let you go so easily. Take some time, go to Lady Zainab. Janab Ali Akbar comes into the tent of the ladies. When he tells them that he is about to go, you would think, brothers and sisters, that a janazah has come from the house of Rasulullah. Hazrat Ali Akbar is surrounded by the ladies. They will not let him go. They keep saying to him, one more ziyarat. Let us look at you one more time. When Ali Akbar is ready to leave the tent, he feels at the end some small hand upon his trousers pulling him back. He dares not to look, but when he looks down, he sees his sister Sakina, and she says, brother, will you go and leave me? Ali Akbar says, I must go. She says, all of those who have gone have not come back since the morning. Brother, I fear that if you go, you will not come back again. Ali Akbar takes the leave of the ladies. He comes back to Mawla Hussein. He says, Abata, I now go forth. Imam Hussein says, wait, oh my son, I must do two things. Imam Hussein takes a cloth and wraps it around the head of Ali Akbar and says, Beta, this is your Ammama. Go with this Ammama and fight. And the second thing he does is he kisses the forehead of Janab Ali Akbar. Janab Ali Akbar goes onto the horse. As he rides out into Karbala, Ali Akbar hears a strange noise. He hears as if someone is following him. Ali Akbar is going into Karbala. The noise is coming after Ali Akbar. Ali Akbar looks behind. He sees the old man Hussein following him into Karbala. He says, Baba, I've already taken your permission. Baba, why are you coming after me? Hussein says, oh my son, you have no children. You will not understand the pain that I feel knowing that my son is going out into Karbala. Ajrukum Allah, Ajrukum Allah. Janab Ali Akbar is on the horse. He is riding into battle. He begins to introduce himself. He says, oh forces of Yazid, if you do not know me, allow me to tell you who I am. Ana Ali, Ibn al-Hussein, Ibn Ali, Ibn Abi Talib. I am the grandson of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He is full of courage. He is full of anger. They say that this Hashimi youth is able to kill around 100 of the soldiers of Yazid. And then the thirst and hunger comes upon Ali Akbar. For 3 days Ali Akbar has tasted no water. For 3 days Ali Akbar has not eaten a morsel of food. He comes back towards his father. He says to Hussein, Ya Abata, I am tired, I am thirsty, this armor is heavy. Hal ila shurbatin min al-ma'i sabil. Do you have any way of giving me even a drop of water? Hussein Mazloom says to his son, oh beta, what a day that you ask me for something and I am unable to give it to you. But beta, if my tongue has even a drop of moisture, you take that moisture. When Ali Akbar looks at the tongue of Hussein, Ali Akbar moves back and says, Ya Abata, oh father, what is this? I am thirsty. You are more thirsty than me. Your tongue is drier than my tongue. You are even in a worse position than me. Ali Akbar turns back and goes back into the plains of Karbala. At one point, Ali Akbar is fighting like a gallant warrior. The cowardly forces begin to attack Janab Ali Akbar. Two things happen to Ali Akbar. The first is that one of the enemies who was an expert in spear throwing looks at the chest of Ali Akbar. He makes it a target for his spear. He throws the spear with such a force that Ali Akbar is hit in the chest. He begins to rock upon his horse. He has no balance left. And then they strike him from behind upon his head. When Ali Akbar is struck upon the head, Ali Akbar leans forward. His blood is spilling out. The blood goes into the eyes of the horse. As the horse is blinded from the blood of Ali Akbar, the horse begins to panic. The horse bolts forward into the lines of the enemies. The historian narrates that when this happens, فَقَطَّعُوهُ بِسُيُوفِهِمْ إِرْبًا إِرْبًا, that when the horse takes Ali Akbar into the forces of Yazid, they all draw their swords and they begin to chop at the body of Ali Akbar, piece by piece, sword by sword, blow by blow. At the end, Ali Akbar rides through. He now is hanging off his horse. He falls off his horse. Hussein begins to run to Ali Akbar. Hussein begins to run to Ali Akbar. Hussein, as he runs, the historian narrates, I saw when Hussein ibn Ali was going to his son Ali Akbar, I saw something that I did not see for any other shaheed. For every other shaheed, Hussein would run in a straight line, straight towards the body, but not for Ali Akbar. Every 2 steps Hussein would fall. Every 3 steps Hussein would fall. The other thing which I saw was that on that day of Ashura, it was a clear day, it was an open day, there was no fog, there was no cloud, yet still Hussein was shouting, Aina, Aina, Ali Akbar, where are you? Where are you, Ali Akbar? We would say, this is the cloud in the eyes of Imam Hussein, who cannot bear to see his son on the ground. Ajrukum Allah. Imam Hussein reaches the body of Ali Akbar. Ali Akbar is on the floor. Allama Majlisi says that Imam Hussein, as he reaches Ali Akbar, he sees 3 things. The first thing he sees is Ali Akbar is on the ground wriggling with pain. Wriggling with pain. Number 2, Ali Akbar has his hand on his chest. And number 3, when Hussein reaches Ali Akbar for the first time, he looks back and he sees his sister Zainab also coming towards Ali Akbar. Ajrukum Allah. He says to Ali Akbar, what has happened? What has happened? Ali Akbar says, Ya Amata, do not worry. Hada Jaddi Rasulullah. Here with me is Rasulullah. Rasulullah is giving you salams. He is saying, tell my son Hussein a message from me. He is saying, oh father, Ajjalil Qudum ilayna. Hussein, rush back to us. We are missing you. We wish to receive you. Imam Hussein looks at the hand of Ali Akbar, which is on the chest. Imam Hussein removes the hand of Ali Akbar. As he does this, he sees that there is no spear, but there is still the blade of the spear in the chest of Ali Akbar. Ali Akbar is in so much pain. When Imam Hussein lifts the hand of Ali Akbar, the blood of the chest begins to pour. Imam Hussein, as he touches the blade spear, the blade of the spear, Ali Akbar begins to move. If Hussein moves it to the left, Ali Akbar's whole body moves to the left. If Hussein moves it to the right, the whole body moves to the right. As Hussein pulls out that blade, Hussein shouts out, Inna Lillah wa Inna Ilayhi Raji'un. Ali Akbar's soul has left this world. Ali Akbar has become shaheed. Allah la'natullah al-qawm al-zalimin. Wa sayalamu alladhina zalamu ayyamun qalbin qalibun. Oh Allah, protect us in this month of Muharram from the shar of the nafs and from the shar of Iblis. Oh Allah, accept our azadari. Oh Allah, bless all the mu'mineen throughout the world. Oh Allah, protect them all in their rituals of azadari. Oh Allah, help us to achieve a high, elevated state of nafs in this month of Muharram. Oh Allah, bless our marhumeen. Brothers and sisters, there is one announcement that I've been requested to make. That is that on Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. there is going to be a candle-lit julus, which will be Sham-e Ghariba. I will also have a short speech on that julus. You are all requested to attend. It starts from Rizvi College and it finishes just near Carter Road. Let us remember all our marhumeen with Al-Fatiha.